Spirit Talk Live with Scott Allan is for entertainment purposes only.
My dear friend, a wonderfully, wonderfully gifted medium. I've seen him in action. It would blow your minds wide open. He's just incredible.
Patrick from London, you are on the air. Welcome to the show.
I mean, this reading has meant more to me than anything. And I'm so grateful.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Spirit Talk Live. My name is Scott Allan. I want to say welcome to my lovely co-host, Stacia Wills. And I want to say hello to everyone here in the United States and across the pond over in the United Kingdom and Europe. I don't know if Michele, our guest tonight, knows we are live in the United Kingdom every Wednesday night here. So we got some lovely people over there. I hope you will join in on the chat tonight as you sometimes do. The call line will be open in just a little bit, 775-264-SPIRIT or 775-264-7747. How are you, Stacia?
Good. How are you, sweetheart?
You know, I'm awesome. And every day that I get to be your friend is an awesome day. I wanted to talk to you about something that I found really interesting. I saw this article today about Thomas Edison.
Nice.
And, you know, he invented the phonograph, right?
Yes.
So the whole thing with Thomas Edison was back when he invented the phonograph in 1877, he created it and he did it with his own voice, reciting Mary Had a Little Lamb. And then in 1920, he announced plans to capture a different type of voice, one that belonged to those no longer living. So specifically, a spirit phone capable of talking to the dead. And the man that was quoted in this article, his name is Mark Hartzman, and he's the historian and author of the book Chasing Ghosts, a tour of our fascination with spirits and the supernatural. But aside from the life-changing feat of breaking through the veil, you know, we kind of think that his interest in spiritualism was simply to demonstrate that science and not mediums and Ouija boards was the way to do it. So in fact, in 1920, Edison told American Magazine that the methods and apparatus commonly used and discussed are really just a lot of nonsense. And he wanted to prove it by developing something. And I don't know if he ever did. A lot of people thought that his belief in communicating the dead was just a real joke and kind of a way to capitalize on the headlines on spiritualism's popularity. But at the same time, Edison did not have any unusual hypothesis regarding what happens after humans die. So this was his thought, and we can talk about this. He felt that he believed in the idea of life units, and that in a nutshell, 100 trillion of them make up a human being. And then after the person dies, those life units move on to something else. Or someone else, I should say. So it's sort of like the energy that keeps going. It's that energy we communicate with. And those of us who communicate with those who have passed, I believe it is a lot of energy.
Yes.
But you and I both know, because we've been in situations where it's not intelligent. It's like that. It's like that tape. It's like a tape. It goes on and on and on. And you wonder sometimes what that is and how that imprints it on. And I think it's fascinating that a man like Edison, he thought Ouija boards were nonsense, and yet he was going to build a phone.
Yeah.
And to a certain degree, there are these phones. There are those pieces of equipment that by accident pick up. In fact, you look at the Panasonic DR60, which was, it was what, a $10 thing back in the 60s. Back in the 70s and 80s, and there was a flaw in it. There was a flaw in its design that people were recording things, to study, recording professors, and then all of a sudden they're hearing other voices behind it that weren't there. And it's sort of this non-shielding thing. And that's where they realized that these things had the possibility to connect with voices that weren't really there. And so they stopped making them. And now you can buy one for about $4,000, which is absolutely insanity.
We'll do a GoFundMe page to get one.
GoFundMe page. Hello, Chrissy Esposito. So good to see you. Chrissy is also a mutual friend who's coming on the show maybe next week. I think she's with us next week. She's also a friend of Michelle's. And Sandy Smithkey, thank you so much for reaching out and saying hello. And Thomas Patrick Gormley, my friend, nice to see you always every week. So I want to tell you, and we can talk about that. I just found that a little fascinating with him.
It is. I love anything of the science portion of paranormal. You know, here I am. I'm a medium. I've been a medium my whole entire life. I'm clairvoyant. I mean, I see things, I hear things, but I still always research things, because not every bump in the night is something. So I love when there's the evidence and, the proof behind it in a scientific study. I love that. I think there,
Is that your husband in the background? Is that your husband in the background?
No, that's Greg.
Oh, great. Okay. No, that's fine. You're sweet. You know why? Because I'm hearing voices and sometimes that happens. No, it's totally fine. I just wasn't sure if they were dead voices or real voices. I have the door
cracked because this place is a hotspot. Here's Greg now. You want to say hi to him? Hold on. Come here, Greg. Say hi.
Oh, no. It's the Greg Nicholas.
Say hi.
Hi, Greg Nicholas.
Hey,
medium
Scott.
extraordinaire you, from Ohio. How are you,
my friend? What are you up to?
Well, we're on a show.
Mm-hmm.
So keep the language down. What's that?
Imagine that.
Imagine that. We're on a show. And you're going to be on the show, what? I think October or something.
October-ish, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That'll be fun.
But yeah, so far so good.
That's good. Enjoy. I heard voices and I said, well, she's either home or she's around somebody else or the dead people are talking to us. And I'm not sure which it is. So.
Yeah, Scott, it's always the dead folks. You know that.
I do. I do.
Anyway, I got to run. Good seeing you, man. Take care.
Nice seeing you, Greg. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You want to shut the door? So there you go. Sorry, I had the door cracked. It was a hot box in here. That's what I said. It's hot in here. He goes, it's hot in here.
Well, I told you about the time, I think, that I was doing the show and did I ever show you that? And the voice came on. We were talking to the guest and I don't know if I can do it here. Let me see. I'm going to show you something right now because this is fascinating. So we were doing the show. This is when we were still the Paranormal Project. I hadn't switched over to Spirit Talk Live, but it's the same. It's the same format. So here we were doing the show, and all of a sudden a voice came in and said, "Hi, Scott," and talked right over us. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Like, what is this? I'm going to back it up here, and I'm going to show you in 1 second. And this is the kind of stuff that used to happen to me all the time. I told you that,
Yeah.
All right. Here it is. Let's see. We turn this up. Maybe. Hold on.
How could somebody get hateful though? I don't understand that.
I love it.
Listen again. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
That's I love that since they are energy, it's easier for them to manipulate the energy. One of the things when my son first passed away, every night I would turn the downstairs TV off and I'd go to bed. And halfway through the night, I'd hear the TV turn on. Now, this was his TV. My TV broke. I put his TV out there. So it was the first time it had been turned on since his passing. And it would turn on. So my husband said to me, "Why don't you turn that TV off at night?" I said, "I do." I said, "I absolutely do." As we're turning the TV off upstairs, because I brought him coffee, we're watching the news, we turn it off. As we're walking out, and I said, "Vince, I turned the TV off. That TV kicked on and the one downstairs kicked off." I said, "Now, do you understand? He's messing with the TV." But it's one of those things where, even when my mom passed, her favorite program was The Rifleman, and I could not stand that program. And I was sitting there and I says, "Mom, just give me a sign." The TV turned on and I watched it just change channels. Bump, and The Rifleman came on. I said, "That's not even funny, Mom."
If I die, I'm going to send you Dick Van Dyke. You know that, don't you?
He's been flooding my Facebook feed. No, we're not.
Oh, no.
I'm done with that.
Oh my God. All right. I want to talk to you about our guest tonight because she's sitting patiently backstage. I am part of a mentor group with a man named Joe Shield. Joe Shield is a fine medium. He's really very well respected on the world stage and not well known like John Edwards and those, but he's the real deal. And he's all about the authenticity of mediumship. And each year he puts together this select group of people who he mentors. And and when he tells you it's a life mentorship, it's a life mentorship. He's there for you. And people that he's mentored years ago are still invited to be a part of his circle. And it's really been such a great thing for me. I've learned a lot, but it's not just the learning that's important. It's the connection. It's the connection with other people who are going through similar things. And it's a really diverse group of people. And some are, we joked about being out of the spiritual closet, but some of them are not.
No.
Some of them have not figured out how to tell the people in their lives that they see dead people.
Yeah,
Because let's face it, it's scary.
it is scary.
Some of them are newer along in their journey and they're never going to be a working medium, but they have something going on and they're trying to figure it out. Others are working mediums, they do it professionally. And we all have our strengths. There are medical intuitives. There are people who love private readings but don't like to stand on the stage and talk. There's some people that love to stand on the stage and talk, but they're not really into the private readings. And together we all come together twice a year, and we come under the arm of this man who is such a decent man and decent medium. And we learn from each other, and it almost feels like a retreat to me. It really does. So
It
one
does.
morning I was at breakfast and this woman walks in and I said, she looks like she could talk to dead people. Let's see. And there she was. And we had seen each other kind of I don't know. We ended up striking up a conversation. She was just the nicest person. And I knew I had to have her on the show. So I want to share her with all of you. And and so I'm going to bring her out in just a second. I want to introduce you all, everyone, to Michele Rothberg. Hello, Michele. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Now you're where? Oklahoma, Kansas.
I'm in Kansas, in Wichita.
And how are the hurricanes, tornadoes out there this time of year?
They pass us by.
Oh, last time we talked, I mean, I don't remember who it was, if it was you or was it you that was dealing with intense tornadoes a while back, or was it somebody else? I might be.
So, right. So about 2 years ago, we actually saw a gigantic tornado out the window. They don't give you much notice. And so my husband was looking out the window going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh.
And I was like, what? And then I heard my phone going, ring, tornado. And I looked out the window. I was like, tornado.
Oh my
But
God.
it was headed right towards us. And then it just turned and then it landed maybe a half a mile from us. But we saw it clear as day coming right at us. And I was like, we're supposed to go to the basement. Grab the cat. Yeah. So
Crazy. And you were okay though. I mean, your house was okay
Yeah.
and everything. Thank
we were
God.
totally fine. And we had just moved here right before COVID. So we're not from
Yeah.
tornado country. And so since that happened, we've talked to a lot of people who are from here, who are natives to this area, and they've said that they've never even seen a tornado.
Really?
So it's not as common as it might,
Well, you'll think Wizard of Oz, I mean,
Right.
pick you up and drop you down somewhere else.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
God. Yeah, that's scary. Where were you from originally? What part of the country are you from?
I'm from Santa Monica, California.
Okay.
You left Santa Monica to go to Kansas?
Well, I had left there long before.
Oh, there you go.
I had moved to Northern California. I'd moved to Vermont, kind of all over.
Oh, wow. You've been all over the place. Yeah.
And then by the time I thought maybe I'd want to move back, rents were like $3,000 for a studio apartment.
Yeah. Say no more. I hear it. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Boston. And I think it's probably as bad here now. It's just ridiculous what you have to pay. Matter of fact, if you find anything for sale in Kansas, let me know. I may end up there sometime within the next year or two. It's just terrible. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how did all of this start for you? Have you been doing this your whole life?
Right. Yeah. So I just thought that everybody did actually when I was little. I think that I didn't understand the difference between someone living and someone passed because when I was young, I used to actually see them, objectively in front of
Yeah,
me.
outside. Mm.
Yeah, and I didn't quite understand. I didn't quite understand until my grandma had passed away, and she, I had seen her in the hospital. She was really sick with cancer, and so I knew I was 9 years old by that time, and I knew she was very sick. And one night I had gone to bed, and at about 3 in the morning, something startled me. I woke up. I'm sitting on the top, I would say top shelf of the bunk bed, the top, and I look over at my doorway, and there's my grandma.
Mm.
Gorgeous, looking vibrant, beautiful, her hair done, her makeup done, in her pantsuit and everything. And I was like, all right, I was 9, so I knew
Yeah.
there's no way that she could have gone from the hospital
Yeah.
looking so sick
Yeah.
to standing there like that. And I looked at her, and I was like, I just was, my jaw dropped to the floor. And she says, everything's okay. Everything's all right. There's nothing to worry about. Would you like some cream of wheat? And
Oh
I
my
looked at
gosh.
her, and I said, and I turned away, looked at the clock, saw what time it was, looked back at the door, and she was gone. So I went back to bed, woke up in the morning, saw my mom in the kitchen crying. And I said, Mommy, why are you crying? And she said, Grandma passed in the night. Now, a normal person would say, oh my God, or oh no. I
Right.
said, what time? What time? Because I had looked at the clock, and
Yeah.
she said the same time that I had looked at the clock. And I said, well, don't worry, Mommy, she's fine. She came to me in the night. Well, lo and behold, same thing happened to her when her grandma died. She saw her in
Wow.
her doorway. So this is something that's sort of gone, it's been in my family, and I know a lot of the women seem to have the ability to see dead people, although
Does
the
your
men
mom
have
use it? Does your mom use the ability? Does she do anything with it?
So my mom actually passed 2 years
Oh,
ago,
sorry.
but she was very psychic, very mediumistic, but she was a therapist. She was an art therapist, so she didn't do it professionally, but she would
Sure.
share it with friends and
But she
family.
actually did do it professionally. She worked, she
Yes,
gauged, yes,
in
she
a
gauged her clients. Yes.
correct, exactly. Yes.
Wow. I
Hmm.
You
mean,
will you will see a lot of therapists are gifted.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what's interesting too is we talk about and we'll explain the difference between objective and subjective evidence. Objective evidence, which is what you see with your own eyes outside or hear with your own ears outside, is so uncommon. And I've heard of people before that when they were children, they saw people. You saw your grandmother in,
Mm.
I wouldn't say in the flesh, but you know what I mean, outside of the body. It's not a mind's eye thing.
Right.
But you don't do that anymore. I mean, that's gone. And somehow the gifts change and transition. I know mine have over a
Yeah.
period of time.
Right.
It was really intense for a while with, hearing my voice called. I was hearing stuff everywhere and getting it on the radio. And then just hearing it in the room with me, it would wake me up at night. Scott, I don't get that anymore.
Yeah.
How about you, Stacia? Have your gifts kind
Um,
of changed a bit?
when I was younger, they seemed to be a little bit more hands-on, like thumping beds and tugging and pulling
Uh,
hair to more an exaggerated extent. Would scare a
right.
child. And maybe it was just even in my mind as a child, maybe it was scarier because I still
Hmm.
get those things, but they don't seem to be, as exaggerated as it was. So that's what I'm just wondering is do we see it more clearly as a child or we remember it because it's like maybe frightening or has put an imprint and as an adult we rationalize it out that we actually see it a little bit differently because I
Yeah.
still get the same thumping of the bed and the pulling of the hair but it doesn't feel like it did when I was a child.
No, but I wonder too if that's how they're really trying to get your attention.
Oh,
They would not
absolutely.
have got your attention. I think Michelle, for you, if you had dreamt of your grandmother, I don't think it would have had the same effect.
No.
And I
Right.
think for me, unless they hit me over the head with it, I would have chalked it up as, nothing. I mean, for years I pushed it aside thinking, that's nothing. It was nothing. Oh, I'm in a haunted house. That's what I thought. Oh, my funeral home is haunted. And it was crazy. I mean, I'm sure there's dead people everywhere walking around, but why was I picking up on it? And why could I hear them walking around and feel them in the living room, or not the living room, but the family, the viewing room, and then the office? And why could that happen to me and it couldn't happen to anyone else? Because they're trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen anymore like that. It's so different now. But I think even though I'm a lot more fine-tuned than I was, you know, um, you can drive you can get an arrow right through and direct where it's going to go, or you can drive a truck through and hit the same target. And I feel like that's what it was years ago. It was like driving a truck through. You just knock everything over and
Well,
get to the target.
doing this my whole life and having an extremely large family and always having death, what I've noticed is when they do pass right away, so you working at a funeral home or your grandmother, is they do come in that physical body because they haven't even crossed yet.
Mm.
So you do see them more in that physical state, which would make sense to you, Scott, because that's where they are. They're still within, that little bit. But then as you get, your gifts have been awakened. I'm wondering if you are now picking up into the deep state, the other side, but that, entrance of that first death manifesting of the form really gave you the understanding to open up into that deeper level.
But I never got it objectively. I never saw them like
You
that. I
never saw
felt
them.
and
You
I
felt.
heard. I heard and I felt. And it was objective. I mean, there's no question
Yeah,
about it. I heard
absolutely.
things like with my own ears. It wasn't
Oh, yeah.
mind's eye stuff or mind's ear or whatever you want to call that. Is it really called mind's ear? I don't know. But your
I'm
mind's
scared.
ear.
I'm
but
scared.
yeah, I never saw it like that. And I'm always fascinated by that because I've heard that so much about little kids that have experienced that. I'll tell you a little
Children.
story. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say children also have what is called synesthesia. It's like every child is born with this, what they call as a neurological condition, where they see colors and auras. And then as you age, that's supposed to dull down and you just have your regular sense of sight. Now, as an adult, I do
Interesting.
have synesthesia. I have it, my mother had it, my sister has it. Um, so it's one of those things. I do read auras and I do see things and I'll watch things walk by like in an iridescent color, but they claim children have that, you outgrow that. So I wonder if it's also that sense, it's almost like it's a neurological sense that helps them see and then they kind of grow out of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you an interesting story, and I'll make it quick. But when my grandmother was a little girl, and maybe that age 9, or maybe even a little bit younger, I'm not sure. Um, of course, we're looking at the 1920s, right? I mean, she was born in 1922, so it was a long time ago. But it was a cold, cold winter night, and her parents said that she and her brother should sleep in the same room because they wanted to conserve heat and be close, and they didn't have the heating systems like they have. So she was in the room with her brother and they were playing checkers on the foot of the bed. And she looked, she looked at the foot of the bed and she saw this man standing there. Now, my grandmother was raised Catholic. So her impression of this man was, oh, that's Jesus. And he was blessing her. And now I'm telling you, she told this story till the day she died. It never changed. It never changed. My grandmother wasn't a liar. I believe she saw something. Was it Jesus? I don't know. She believed it was, but whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever it was, it was. She saw something. Her brother could not see this man at the foot of the bed. And he told her she was crazy. And she told him, but look, he's right there. And then when she turned back, he was gone. That night, the house caught fire. And that bedroom, the floor collapsed just after they got the kids out of the bedroom and brought them out of the house. The floor collapsed in that part of the house. So, she says that blessing was really we're going to, she was saved. That's how she feels. She was saved. And I never thought much about it other than, well, that's a really weird story. Like, I don't know anybody else that's ever seen anything like that. Right. People have experiences. I've never felt that. And I start to wonder, was there something with her? She talked about her godmother, who was definitely a medium, but the godmother was not related to us. She was the godmother, but not related by blood at all. But she used to talk about her all the time. But she never talked about herself in that way. She was Catholic. She wouldn't have believed it anyway. She wouldn't have admitted it. I don't think she would have even acknowledged it or understood it. But that one experience has me thinking, now maybe there was something there that kind of got handed down. I'm not sure.
I would
So,
have to agree with you.
yeah, that's only something I figured out within the last couple of years. The story's
It's a
been with me
beautiful
my whole life.
story. It's a beautiful story.
It is a beautiful story. And like I say, she's not the type to make up stories. She wasn't that way. So if she said it, I believe her. I don't know exactly what she saw. I know what she thinks she saw, but something happened. And who did she see? Was it her grandfather? You know what I mean? Like, you don't know. You don't know. I mean, I come from a Portuguese family. A lot of the men look like Jesus. They grow the beards and stuff. It's kind of how it is. Even the women are born with beards. I mean, it's just how it is. It's crazy. So, yeah, I think it's fascinating, and I think does there have to be something there going back? I don't know, but maybe. I know you both probably definitely do.
Yes.
Because I thought for the longest time, why me? Like, why? Why? Even my mother said to me, because I remember telling her, and she said, well, why now? I said, I don't know. Darned if I know. I have no idea.
It's just your
Now,
time.
but as I became more in tuned, I realized it wasn't just now. This has been there for a while.
Yeah.
It's been there for a long time. But I spent 35 years in a funeral home. You don't do this when you're in a funeral home.
No.
You join the Lions Club. You don't talk to dead
The
people.
Kiwanis, the Lions Club.
The Kiwanis, Should we do a few readings too? Anybody, I want to put this out there. Let's say hi to a few of our friends. Anybody out there that would like a reading, please, the lines are open. Feel free to comment in the chat. We could do a card pull. We can give you a little intuition, whatever you want. This is a big part of what we do on the show. So please chime in if you want a reading or a card pull. The Wadruna is prepared. She has her cards with her. Let's say hi to Chrissy Esposito. Oh, we said hi to Chrissy. Hi, Chrissy, again. Nice to see you. Okay. Jay is in the house. Jay Yaples from the Enfield Demon House.
Hello, Jay.
Stacia and I are going to be at the Enfield Demon House in Enfield, Connecticut this August 24th and 25th. And we are going to be doing a talk and an investigation. And then the next day we're doing a gallery there at the house. And you just told me some news. Am I allowed to share that, or do we have to hold that in?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Sorry, folks. Sorry for the intro. We'll share this next time around.
A little bit of surprise.
Next time I can. Let's say hi to Ashley Martin. Ashley, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us again tonight. And Sandy says, hey, Michele, I would love a reading or a card. Michele, that's a friend of yours, I assume. Yeah. Hard to read friends. You want to see what you get? Stacia will pull it out if you want. That's why I like to have other people here. That way helps out.
Well,
It's
the
hard
first
to read
card I
someone
got when I picked up the deck was walking away from disappointment. Sandy, I don't know what it is, but darling, you need to walk away.
Walking away from disappointment.
Yeah, just walk away. Just leave it behind you. I'm going to tell you, yeah. Honey, there is a situation, and you're constantly pulled into it, and you just need to stop. It's just cycling over and over, making your life hard. If you actually walk away from this, it just sets you free. But at the same time, you're going to walk away for a little bit, and it's going to suck you right back in until you just really just had enough. But honey, you have to. This feels very family related. I'm just going to leave that right there. But you need to walk away from the situation.
All right. I don't know if she's
Kind
still
of do
here.
a little vague because I don't want to go into deep details.
We're on a public show. We're on a public
that's
show. Yeah. But thanks for sharing that. And feel free, Sandy, if you happen to be in the chat still and you want to give a little feedback on that, that'd be great. Anybody else looking for a phone reading, you can call us 775-264-SPIRIT, or just type in the chat. You know, as always, we love to have a conversation with you all. So I want to congratulate you, Michele. I have to tell you a funny story. So when we get to the thanks and yes, ma'am, it makes sense. She said, that's great.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Yeah, that's great, Sandy. When we go to see Joe Shield and we do our mentoring together, we kind of get stretched a little bit. And it's funny because I do galleries all the time. You do galleries all the time. There's something about standing up there in front of that group, and I don't know what it is, but I always get nervous. And I think it's because it's another group of mediums. And there isn't a judgmental person in the whole group, but it's just, I think, this desire to do well, you know? So we all went up. We were there in April. We all went up. And Michele came up. She did a fantastic job. And Joe said, he always asks, what do you think you did right? What do you think you could have done differently? You know, that kind of thing. And she says, what did I do right? Well, I didn't throw up. And that was a good thing. And it's so funny because she and I had breakfast that morning. And I said, you're going to go up and talk? She says, oh my God, I think I'd throw up if he asked me to go up and talk. And then she did. And she did such a fantastic job. You know, it's just stepping out a little bit, you know, stepping out a little bit and talking about, you know, just learning something different. But not everyone's going to want to do the galleries. You do a lot of private stuff, don't you, Michele?
Right. And you remember he made me wear a blindfold.
That's right. He did. Now, do you think that was helpful or not helpful?
Well, I think it was helpful because I didn't have to look at anybody. But the funny part was, you know, when you're doing a demonstration, you bring through some evidence and then you ask for a show of hands to see if it makes, sense to anybody. Can anyone take this information? And so I said that, if you could take the information, please raise your hand. And then I sat there and I said, well, is anyone raising their hand? Because
that's right. Oh my God. I don't know how you do that without knowing. And then you had like 3 or 4 people at one time. You're like, well, how do I know who's saying what, where you're coming from?
That's cute.
Right. And then I noticed too, when I had the blindfold on, I felt like I couldn't hear very well. It's almost like it took my hearing away.
It's like one of those, I smell something and I turn the volume down to smell
right?
something.
Yeah, right.
That's right. If I'm in the car and I have my glasses on, I can't hear the radio,
Yeah.
So,
yes.
So I thought it was interesting because I couldn't hear, and then I did hear like a little voice. I can take it, and I was thinking, are they whispering or is something wrong with my hearing? But I really did I felt like it made me just focus on the job at hand and not worry about the nerves because people are watching.
I was going to say the nerves aren't about spirit. The nerves is about, I would think, connecting. No, not connecting, standing in front of people. Not about connecting. It's about standing in front of people. And some people just don't love public speaking. I mean, I get nervous every time I do it. And I don't know. Sometimes I get up there and there's a little comedy. And maybe it's nervous comedy or something. I don't know. But I feel like I get nervous. But it's not that it's not the standing in front of people that worries me. It's that I feel very vulnerable when I'm up there. And it's almost like, this isn't a trick that I've learned to do. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't learn a magic trick and I can get up there and do it 25 times. It's not that. I am really completely and totally humbled and dependent upon them to come through to give me a message that I can give to the people that are standing in front of me. And if they say, no, you're done tonight, that's it. I mean, I'm done. I can't do it. I can't do it. That's never happened, and I really do try to trust. I really try to be there and trust. But that for me is the fear, is just what happens if I get out there and they just say, not tonight, we're going for coffee. That's it.
That's right, because we can't go in with a plan. We just have to go in completely trusting and allow
Yeah.
spirit to come through. And so for me, I think what makes me feel nervous when I go up on the stage is I have no idea what is about to happen or
Right.
not. I have no idea. There's not an itinerary. You know,
Right.
I don't have a script in front of me that I know this person's coming, then that person's coming. You know, Grandma Sue is coming, and then Uncle Frank is coming, and that I have no idea.
It's like you open your mouth and that's when it happens. They show up. And
Right.
I literally will get up there and be like, okay, come on out now. It's time to play. And they will, but you don't know walking into it. You just
Right.
don't. And that is so frightening.
Yes.
It's so
So
frightening.
I just have to say this. I believe spirit leads you in directions that
Yes.
sometimes we say things without realizing we're saying them.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandma Sue was very gifted.
Oh my
And you
goodness.
just blurted out Grandma Sue as I like totally felt her at the same time. And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
let's just touch base on Grandma Sue.
Oh
How
my
great is
goodness.
that?
And she
See,
was
and
the
those are
side of
the
the family
things.
that was gifted.
Those are the moments. And sometimes
Yes.
it's the mannerisms. I've gone
Oh,
like this,
yeah.
like I'm going like this. I'm like, you know, the necklace or whatever, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I'm doing it. And before I'm doing it, like, oh my God, she would do that with her necklace all the time. She would play with the chain.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just weird stuff like that.
Right.
Do you mind if we take a call? We have
Absolutely.
someone on the line here, Mary from Pittsburgh. Let's see. Mary from Pittsburgh, welcome to the show.
Hi, Scott. I had a reading for you at Hillview Manor, and I'm calling. I kept telling you you were wrong, but you were right. I just didn't know this information. I'm calling you to tell you it was my bad.
Refresh
love
my
the fact
memory
that she's
because I
calling
don't
in.
know. Refresh my memory, if you don't mind.
Oh
What was
yeah,
it?
you were telling me you were bringing in my nephew. It was a male who was took his own life by his own hands, but didn't mean to. He was an addict. And he went missing. And I kept telling you, no, he didn't go. But he did go missing. And and my family went to look for him. And he had tattoos. And I kept telling you, no, he didn't have tattoos. Well, he had toe tattoos.
Oh, my gosh.
And you were telling me that he said I was scuffed, but I kept telling you, no. And I was wrong. I just wanted to tell you
sometimes
that.
you don't know. Well, I thank you for calling.
You were spot on.
Oh, thank you. And, you know, sometimes people will reach out to me a week later. And look, I am the first one to say I am not infallible. And sometimes we can misunderstand the message. But I do remember saying that to you and thinking, well, maybe I'm misunderstanding the missing part, you know?
And I was throwing you off, I think, because I kept like, and you kind of were like, oh man, but you were like, oh, but this is what I'm getting. And I'm like, no.
Oh, no.
But yeah, you were right.
Well,
So,
thank you.
my
Thank you.
bad.
No, you know, you're good.
Thank you.
There's such a thing called psychic amnesia too. I'll tell you a little story, Mary, while I've got you on the phone. I had a woman come in for a reading. And I had a reading with her, and I told her I had a woman coming through who played the flute. Very specific. She played the flute. I want you to know, I have no idea who that is. No idea who that is. The next person comes in. She says, by the way, I'm that person's sister. I said, oh my God, I wish you'd come in together because, you know, the two of you together could have been connected.
Wow.
And I said, that lady's still here. I said, I've got a lady here that plays the flute. And she says, oh yeah, that's my mom. I said, wait a minute. Your mom plays the flute? She says, yeah. I said, your sister had no idea who I was talking about. She says, what are you talking about? My mother's played the flute her whole life.
Oh, wow.
I said, I don't know.
And that was me telling you, no.
It's just how it happens.
Amazing.
But I'm so glad you called. And thanks for checking into the show. I appreciate it. This is so great to have you on.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Awesome job.
Thank you so much.
Right,
take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Well, that was cool.
You know, that even happens to people who are psychics and mediums. I was just at the Sunset Spiritualist Church camp for the past 4 or 5 days. And the first day, we were all doing like 10-minute mini readings all day.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lull. And so I said, oh, I'm going to go buy a ticket and get a reading. So I sat with a different reader. And she says to me, I wanted a psychic reading. And she says to me, I'm seeing this image of prickly pears and a desert and palm trees and cactus. Are you headed to the desert? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. A couple of minutes later, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, in 2 weeks, I'm flying to Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Oh,
That happens to the best of us.
it does. Can I be honest with you though? I feel so bad because I never get a reading. I mean, nobody is ever able. Not that I don't get a reading. It's like nobody's ever able to tune in, and I don't know. I don't know why I feel so blocked. It must be me because I don't feel like I am in terms of that. I'm open to whatever comes. Nobody can ever read me, and I'm not saying nobody. I'm sure there's somebody who can, but I haven't found them yet. You know, even when we do those exercises at Joe
You have a
Shields.
bit of a wall up. You do. You have a bit of a wall up.
Yeah, I don't go
Very
wall up.
private. I think it has to do. I think it has to do with the fact of the industry you were in and being guarded and having to be professional and not show
Maybe.
emotion. You do have a bit of a
Yeah.
wall up.
Yeah, so Suzanne is here. Let's see. Suzanne says, I remember trying to read you. Suzanne is also part of our group. Nice to see you, Suzanne. Thanks for checking in. I don't remember the circumstance, but I'll bet were you able to get anything from me? I don't remember. Yeah, she says it definitely wasn't easy. And I wish I knew why. I certainly have enough people over there, and it's not for lack of wanting. I'd love to communicate and connect. I really would. But for some reason, it doesn't happen. So yeah.
I don't think we've been paired up yet.
I don't know. Maybe September. You're gonna be back in September. I don't think we have either. I saw all the opportunities coming up for you. You did? I don't remember. Yeah. So and there's a difference between the mediumship and the psychic. So people can say there are opportunities, and some of that is all kind of like psychic. And you said poke holes into all of these offers. I do remember that, Suzanne. I do remember that. Like start going after them. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I think you're right in that sense. I think there's a lot of that stuff that's coming on. It's the connection with spirit though. Do you know I had a reading from a woman one day, and she said to me, she says, I can't, they won't talk to me. They said you can talk to them yourself. I said that's a cop out. I can't, because I don't feel like I can. It's not happening for me. So I don't know. Yeah, Suzanne says it was definitely psychic. Yeah, I believe it was. I believe it was. Yeah, but for some reason, that's how it is, And then the more you get to know someone like us, Stacia, it's hard to read someone when you know them. At least for me, it is. I don't know. You say you can do it, but I think for me, it's tough.
I can do it. It's one of those things. You have to pull yourself back a little bit. I mean, for the most part, the general, idea. But if there's something new coming up or a warning or something, I think you can. I think you can read it.
Yeah. Hi, Paula. Nice to see
Hi,
you.
Paula.
How are you? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's funny. You just don't know. You really don't know. Anybody else there looking for a reading or a message or a one-card pull? Please feel free to jump in. I know we're having a nice chat, but we're here. Feel free to jump in and say hello. The lines are open. And let's see. Fabulous. My pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
Paula is an amazing person, a dear friend and an amazing person. Next time you're over, Scott, we're going to have to introduce you.
Is she medium?
No, she's a friend. She is very gifted. She is intuitive. But she's just a really dear friend.
It's all right. Paul, I'm not a medium either. I'm more of a large. It's happened. For a long time, I was a medium for about an afternoon. Then I was a large. That's just how it's been. I don't know. Yeah, nice to meet you, Paul. I look forward to that. And I can't wait to be back in Ohio. I'm going to be back in Ohio. What is the date? September?
Friday, September 13th.
Friday the 13th. Yes.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. We are going to, Greg and I, we're going to be at the historical Willoughby Coal House. We're going to be doing a gallery. So then the Historical Society will be doing the Ghost Walk. Willoughby has an amazing history of being haunted, from Case Western Reserve, stealing, bodies out of the grave for medical, cadavers. So it's, there's a lot. I mean, we're going to do a gallery. We're going to be in a haunted building, and then we're going to do a ghost walk. And a lot of the downtown is going to be involved in this.
Nice.
So
And
it's a
we ate there
very
because
nice.
there's a restaurant there at the Willoughby Cole House. There's
Yeah,
a
we ate
restaurant.
at Spirits. Yeah, we
We ate
did. It
right
was very
there. Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Paula says she's an extra large. Ha, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Let's see. Andy says Michelle is awesome. She's been reading you've been reading her for 7 years now. How great is that?
Nice.
That's wonderful. And Ashley, it's nice to see
Sandy's
you on it.
amazing.
That's so great. Yeah, it's so great to see people show up. And I'm glad that people are here in the chat. We have a nice group on. Don't be shy. Come out and say hello. And if you want a reading, we can give you one card pull or reading. Sometimes we can't get to everybody. Tonight we're just having a nice chat. So Paula says, how fun, love the Willoughby coal mine or coal supply. My friend Jay owns that. We've had great success there. Oh, that's nice.
Well, Paula, I hope you come to the event on Friday the 13th in September.
Let's tell everyone about our event. Not our event. Let's tell everyone about our experience. So we went to dinner or lunch, I guess it was.
Yes, lunch after I picked you up from the airport. Correct.
Right there. Yeah, that's right. After we got from the airport. So we got there and she says, I want to show you. What was it that happened? I'm getting confused between that and the trip up north. We went upstairs, remember? And we got
felt like we were kicked in the
stomach.
chest. Yeah, like in the
I'm
diaphragm.
thinking of the back pain. That was after.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was it was like we both got kicked in the chest. Like it was right at the same time we looked at each other and went, ow. It was like right here, right in the same place. And somebody had been thrown out the window there.
Yeah, from the third floor, thrown out the
From
window.
the third floor.
There's a lot of talk about them getting, beaten, thrown out. Some people, the cops say he jumped, but the way you and I got beat up there, I really feel that he was tossed out the window.
It was funny. What's that?
Oh, that happened to us the whole entire trip. We would get things at the same time, the whole entire trip. Like
we were
it would happen.
driving. And we got to this bridge, and all of a sudden, I kind of sat up in my seat, like my back is hurting. And I'm looking at her, and she's doing the same thing. I said, "My back is mine too."
Gosh.
We both sit up at the same time and hold our backs real stiff. Yeah, that was the whole entire. There was just several days. We'd be together, and you'd see one do something as the other one is doing the same thing, and we're picking up the same pain. Yeah,
it was weird. It was strange the whole day. And then we're trying to get someplace, and it keeps trying to send us to Las Vegas, which was really odd. Like we could not change it. Like we were going to whatever the address was, and it's sending us to Las Vegas. And like we don't want to go to Las Vegas. We're just going. We're going to New York. We're going north. And we were filming the season finale of Dark Echoes. Well, we get there, and there's a woman there that we had never met before, and she had just flown in from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And it was like, are you kidding me? Really? Like, what is this? Are we supposed to connect with you? I don't know.
Yeah. For 2 days, every time I put directions in, it started at Las Vegas. I said, we are not in Nevada. We get up there, and here's this, beautiful young lady named Lindsay, and she's from Las Vegas. And Scott and I looked at are you kidding me?
We kept trying to change the directions so we wouldn't end up in Vegas. I mean, eventually we would have stopped 6 hours in when we realized we were going west, but it was the strangest thing, Oh my God.
Crazy.
Paula Pang, I'd love a reading. I was saying hi on Facebook. Paula, that's so odd because all of our Facebook chats usually show up right in front of us here. Now that's odd. I don't see anything from you. I do see a lot of Facebook. I'd love to know which site you were on. That's really funny that I didn't show up, but we'll do a reading for you, of course.
Go ahead, honey. If you get anything, I'll just pull some. I have cards just flying out here.
Michelle, do you have any intuition? I'm going to give you a chance to. Do you know Michelle, Paula?
I do.
Oh, okay. It's hard to read someone so that's all right. Let's see what we get. Yeah, there she goes. That's so strange. Okay.
I had 2 cards fly out, but I'm going to keep those privates. And, Michelle send you the message for that you can pass it on to Paula.
Okay.
I don't know why. I feel like I'm picking up on a dog, too. I don't know if you got a dog around you that passed, Paula, but I feel like I'm seeing a little dog, not a huge dog, just a little dog that's just kind of all of a sudden poking around. Can you pick up on that, Stacia?
It's not the dog I'm picking up. I'm picking up on a younger male. And I'm gonna text some of this privately because you
Mm-hmm.
know there's somebody within your life that I have some concern about. But he is a male. Um, I'm being polite. He does tend to struggle. He does tend to struggle. I will let you know. In the end, this all does work out. It does, but there is getting his mental health, under control, kiddo, and it's going to be a long road. But I will let you know that it does straighten out. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Good. I'm hoping that makes sense. She said, thank you. I'm hoping that makes sense. I don't know if she understood. She said, yeah, but I don't know if that was to me or to you. I just instantly felt this dog coming over to her, and I don't know what that was all about, but we'll see. So she get the thumbs up. And anything that we get like this, we don't like to spill this stuff out
Yeah.
in public all over the world. So we'll share with you, Michele, after the show is over, and then you can share with Paula after. Thank you, Paula. Yeah. Anyone else? We've got a few more minutes. If anyone would like, the dog makes sense. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Paula. Yeah, the dog's okay. The dog's okay. It's funny because, sometimes I actually had a clergy person tell me the dogs, they have no soul. They don't go to heaven. I'm like,
Yes,
are
they
you
do.
kidding me? Of course they do.
I've had a hamster run across the table in front of me and somebody, and I looked real quick and I go, "What's up with the hamster?" And it literally passed like 2 weeks before that. They
Wow.
said my hamster just passed away, and I'm like, "Well, it's running in a ball in front of you." I mean, even the ball passed along. So
I had a
yeah,
horse come through at Hillview. I felt like Wilbur and Mr. Ed. I was having this
yeah,
conversation with a horse over in Hillview. And
yeah.
and it's funny. I don't usually talk to animals. I don't feel like I didn't feel like I was ever able to, but that time I did. Um, she had 4 race horses. She told me my dad had 4 race horses, and I said, to myself, like, well, which one are you? And I said to her, it's the one that had the accident while it was racing. You understand that? And she said, yeah. That's the one they injected with something to race harder, and it had had a heart attack and fell. And
Oh,
so it died right then and there. The poor thing. That's the one that came through. So evidently I did communicate with it. Wilbur. I just kind of
Wilbur.
that's what I felt like. Wilbur. Chrissy says absolutely they do. They do have souls. They do. And I, quite frankly,
Absolutely.
if my dogs, aren't there, I don't want to go. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
really and truthfully. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. We have a woman coming on in a few weeks. She is a celebrity pet psychic from England. She's coming over
Nice.
from over there. She has her own TV show. Um, Psychic Beth is her name, and she
Fun.
is in the UK as a Beth Crowther, I think is her last name, Crowther. But she'll be on the show in a few weeks, and she's staying up late just to come on the show with us because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning over the UK.
Nice.
But she's going to come on. So get your pets ready. She'll do some psychic, and I think she talks to ones that are still here too. So she can
Okay. Yeah, it
diagnose pets and,
communicates.
pets that have issues or whatever it is. She can talk to them, but she also can connect with the pets who have crossed over. So that's really great. So I think we have a few more minutes. If there's anybody else that wants to chat or have a reading, we'll bring you on. Otherwise, we'll move along and we'll see you next week. But announcements, anything you got coming up, Michele, that you'd like to share? Any events or
I just finished an event.
good?
Nice.
So if you have a time machine, you can get into the time machine and go back
And
to
go back and try it. How do they get a reading with you? Can they book from your website or what's the best way?
Yeah, sure. They can go on my website and book a reading and or email me on there. There's a contact form if they have questions. But I do also connect with animals that are living or on the other side. I do some of my readings are the whole, the whole hour is talking to, animals that are on the other side or, animal communication.
Can I ask you something on that? Because I'm fascinated by that. How did you know you could do that? Did you just one day, like I just described, say, well, and then that you got the answer? I mean, is that how it happens? Or how did you know you could do that?
Because it's the same thing as, connecting with psychically with a living person or mediumistically with a human right? Who's
Yeah.
passed?
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing.
They just speak telepathically, just like we get with all the other stuff.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I guess that's what I figured out when I asked this horse, it sounded like an idiot, but when I asked the horse how he passed, that's what he said to me. And I think that's probably true, because it didn't look any different to me than anybody else I've connected with.
Horses are so easy to connect to. They're probably the easiest to connect to.
Horses are? Wonder
Yeah,
why.
when I'm going to, they're just they're such a high vibration, intelligent being. I mean, I had this one horse, his name was Hector, and he was a rescue horse. And he was jumpy from the one side, so they called me up. And as I'm driving there, I says, Hector, honey, tell me what's going on before I get there. And he's like, I just don't like people coming up onto my right side. I have a blind spot. Well, I'm trying to figure out this, is he in a corner? What's going on? That he has this blind spot. I get out of the vehicle and I said, he told me he has a blind spot. They stopped and looked at me. I said, he doesn't like you coming to the right side. They're like, he has a blind spot in his eye on the right side. I'm like, well, can you maybe let him know that you're there before you come to the right side? He's just like, I don't like it. It scares me. So I just love that they can connect even as you're driving to them. They'll talk to you.
I think that's cool. Paula says, rather than a call, if someone would just like to pull a card for me, Stacia, just let me know whatever's coming through from spirit.
All right, Paula. Let me pull one card for you, kiddo.
Oh, this is your Paula. Yeah. Yeah. Got a lot of Paulas on tonight. It's the Paula show.
We feel. Paula, you actually feel really good. Very busy. Need to slow down. Paula, what sign are you again? I forget, honey. Well, I'm honestly going to tell you, Paula, when I look at this, I get you as a queen. There's more travel. Just happy family. There's really nothing bad in your life, kiddo. There's really not. You're living it to the fullest. I mean, it's just telling me general what's going on with you. There's that queen again. It just jumped out. Listen, I literally had the same card jump out. This one card is just saying carry through with plans. Just carry through, cut dead weights. Okay, that makes sense because I was getting the cups card. That's what I thought you were, but I wanted to, double check that.
Paula, are you retiring? Because I feel like new things, like a whole new, we're
That's
from this moment where it's different. I feel like we're going on to a new phase, is what it
yeah,
sort of feels
that's what's cutting the cords, leaving things behind.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But happy family moving forward. I have a beach card here. You want to go back to Florida? We're going to be down there in August, Paula.
You're going to be in Florida? I'm going to be in Florida in July.
August, yeah, first week. Kicking it around. Hey, listen, I'm going to be in Cape Coral. Yes. Come down. I'll send you the dates.
There you go. Excellent. Well, I want to thank you, Michele. It's been a pleasure having you on. Honestly, I just think the world of you. I think you're such a nice person, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you since September. And she's going to be there August 3rd to 7th. That's what she says. Yeah,
that's when I'm going to be there.
I'm leaving August 3rd to come home.
Well, that's exactly when I'm going to be there, Paula. We're doing dinner.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, you guys, for having me on. It was.
Oh my God, it's such a pleasure. I just love chatting with you. We have the Joe Shield mentorship group coming in over the next couple of weeks. So there's you, Chrissy Esposito is going to be a guest on our show, and also Carm O'Sullivan is going to be on the show.
Oh, Carm.
And I'm so happy to talk with her. And let's see. Let me just see what this says. This is Jay from the Enfield Demon House. We want to say hello. We were just busy doing things, but we wanted to say hello. Hi, Jay. Thanks for touching base and connecting with us. And yeah. So it's fun. We've met just like the best people, just the best people. So I want to thank you for being here. And of course, Stacia, I want to thank you. Please hang on the line for just a moment. We are going to end the show, and then I'll chat with you right here after we're done. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you right here next week, 7:00 p.m. on Spirit Talk Live. Good night, everyone.
Thank you for joining us today for Spirit Talk Live with Scott Allan. Please remember to subscribe to Spirit Talk Live on YouTube and share on all your social media channels.